What's good, everyone? What's good? We are back with another one, another opposite from the norm. It about to be some real shit we about to get into, so brace yourselves, put your seatbelts on, or pull over. About to be some real shit we about to get into, man. So I'm gonna let my partner HD go ahead and lead the story, man. So y'all get ready. Hold on tight. We finna go in. If he'll unmute his shit.
All right. So, hey, man, all the language. So, we're going to speak on a story that I came across earlier today. It actually is taking place in our backyard in Tampa, Florida. The basis of the story is a 27-year-old young brother who's working at Dunkin' Donuts. He's being charged with the death of a 77-year-old customer after he allegedly punched the man for repeatedly calling him a racial slur. Now, the reason why this jumped out at me, number one, I'm looking at, they're charging him with death, you know. Now, after reading the story, the young man, his name is Corey Pujols. So it's not saying the exact racial slur that he was called, but I'm pretty sure we can guess what he was called. And there was exchanging words. The young man, I guess, challenged him to use the slur again. He was repeating it. He hit him in his jaw and he hit his head on the floor. And apparently, the 77-year-old died 2 days later. So he's been charged with aggravated manslaughter of an elderly adult. And this just really burned me on the inside because it just brought up thoughts of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of young brothers and sisters out throughout the United States and probably throughout the world that have to go through things like this, where whether you're at work or I've seen videos, read stories of people just minding their own business at a park, in a mall, in a grocery store, and these white cracker devils will come out and start something and start using the N word. And they use this word because deep down they know that they can do it and get away with it. Now, earlier today, I was very, very mad and I was very upset about this story because of everything that my partner and I represent, everything that we're trying to do with our life, everything that we're trying to move forward to obtain in helping our black people. And he had to calm me down and speak a little, knowledge to me and get me thinking the right way. But it just made me think, when is enough enough? We as black people, we suffer through so much verbal abuse, whether it be at work, whether it be, just in the neighborhood, everywhere. And it comes a point where it just makes me think, when are we gonna stop having to turn the other cheek? Now, in this situation, this older gentleman died. It's not like this young man tried to kill him. He reacted in the heat of the moment to something that, with him, he's probably, you know, have endured this more than just this day. It's just that this particular person took him over the edge. And as much as I hate to see that this young brother may be going away for a long, long time, it really made me stop to think about myself and how would I react in a hostile situation like that. I would hope that my reaction would be something that wouldn't end me up in prison, or dead, with the cops showing up on the scene. Because Lord knows, when there's a black man and cops have to show up, anything could go down. So it just really saddens me and sickens me to my stomach and to my core to have to read this story and think about this young man. Who knows if he has kids? Who knows if he has a wife, girlfriend? I'm sure he of course he has parents. So it's like, it's kind of like sometimes we as black people, we kind of feel defenseless, and it's kind of like, all right, so do we just sit and take it, or do we fight back? But then when we do choose to fight back, the odds and the decks are stacked up against us because this system with these laws that they have, they weren't written for black people and they're not built for black people. So it's like it's a setup for failure. So that's why I mentioned earlier that these white people, they say things and they provoke us because they know that if we react, what's the outcome going to be for us as opposed to what the outcome is going to be for them. So that's just a brief rundown and synopsis of the situation. And I'm going to kick it over to my partner to let him give a little bit of what he thinks on it.
Yeah, like I was speaking on earlier, off the air, what I was saying that we have to learn how to be more logical in certain situations. Standing your ground is one thing. I was telling my partner, if I had an old racist bastard coming at me like that, I clown his ass or them. But if it's somebody of age that can get it, they'll get it. But I still have to be logical in what I do because the sad part about it with this young brother, God bless him, God help him in this situation, is he's 27 years old working at Dunkin' Donuts. No offense, but most likely he doesn't have any money stashed away for bail. He doesn't have money for a lawyer or lawyers on deck. Most likely, we can gather that if he's 27 working at Dunkin' Donuts, and then most likely he ain't got things set up for his family. So to always act while you're emotional. That's what we talk about a lot is being careful about how emotional we get about things, which is understandable. If somebody had an altercation with you through a drive through, then they part and come in and bring that same energy. And my question also would be, what did the other employees do? Did they try to intervene and try to calm the brother down and say, we're going to call the police? For that to happen, we see a lot of that was people just sit around watch a plane going down in fire and don't do nothing. So that's something we also got to think about as young brothers. We can say, oh, somebody disrespect him, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. Well, into that time happens, God forbid something like that happens. You better make sure you got bail money on deck, you got your lawyer on deck, and your family is secure. Because we don't know if this young brother have kids, and we know at certain ages when it comes to us, we might have a child or two. So now you leave your children in a disposition where what can you really do for them? So that's how we got to think. Because one of my older god brothers always says to me when we had these type of conversations, make it home. He always say that. Keep saying good morning. Certain situations we can't always dive into because we're not prepared for. A lot of us would get drunk, smoke, and try to ease the pain that way. But then when we come down off that brief high, what are we gonna do to secure ourselves if we have to act in that emotion? Because, like my partner said, the way this system is set up, there's no guarantee that you're going to win, even if you are justified. We've seen it countless times forever in a day of how a black person can be justified in their situation and still goes down. And then we got too many coon ass niggas out here where a situation would happen with George Zimmerman, you know what I'm saying, and the young brother that he killed. And we got coons out here saying that he was justified. Charles Barkley, oh, he was whipping his ass. So no, they told him to stand down, don't follow that young brother, and they still fucking followed him. So now Trayvon Martin, 17 years old, is gone. God rest his soul. And we got these coon ass niggas out here talking, oh, he shouldn't. Listen, that was standing his ground. Zimmerman should be put under the jail for killing you know what I'm saying, a minor. But people say he was justified, and he followed him. He started the situation. And nobody looking at that. I've heard lawyers online, I forget the one nigga name, fuck him anyways, but he was saying, oh, he agreed with their decision. And it was like, how do you agree with him killing this young boy? And he was standing his ground. He turned around and was like, why are you following me? They got into an altercation. He might have been whooping his ass, but he deserved it. He was drunk, armed with a weapon, following somebody. He should have got time for that. So we see these situations instead of us, oh, if that happened to me, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, get yourself together. So if God forbid that does happen to you, you can be you can do something to halfway protect yourself and halfway come out of this situation. At least, so my thing is we have to think logically and what we can try to do moving forward. It's not like it's gonna change. And this is my thing. Unless we're talking about having a revolution out this bitch with these motherfuckers, it's no point. You might win a battle or two, but you still gonna lose the war. Motherfuckers is not ready to go to war. Like Pac said, his own enemy told him, don't go to war unless you got your money right. Motherfuckers, you can't go to war and you have no money. You have no artillery. You have no base. You have no way to protect your family. If you talking about going to war with these motherfuckers and you ain't ready for that, you have no way to feed yourself. If they cut out shit, you have no way to keep money. If they decide to cut your banking account off or kill your job, your source of income, what are you going to do then? And that's why I try to tell all my brothers now, listen, let's build on something. That's all we keep talking about. Let's set a plan in motion and build on something. Because you can get in your emotions like a irate female, and then it's just gonna be a demise. Because women have more protection than men do, especially black men. So to jump out there head first, no parachute on, is the stupidest shit we can do. So that's my take on it. Get your shit right if you want to be able to fight back. A lot of motherfuckers don't even have weapons to protect themselves, and if they do, they're not legally carrying. So if you want to do that, get your money right, get your family right, make sure you got your legal defense right, and make sure you got a way to keep money coming in and you got a way to keep feeding. If you don't have none of that, sit your silly ass down. So I pray for the brother because I don't think I'm sure he ain't got no money to deal with that. If he got to get a puss ass public pretender, he's fucked. So I just want, on my point of view, for all my brothers listening, that to hear what I'm saying. If you want to be able to fight back, be smart and make chess moves, not checkers. You go ahead, H.
Yeah, one thing that you just spoke on regarding protecting yourself. I know a lot of people that I come across, they may have a gun or two or three, but they don't have that license. Now, I'm not saying that that license is going to do everything for you as a black man or a black woman, but at least, you know, by you having that card, that poses the probability or raises it up a little bit higher that, you know, things will go a little bit better for you as opposed to if you don't, because some of these states have strict, very strict gun laws. And if you don't have that license, you could be going to jail for 2, 3, 4, 5 years for just having a gun, excuse me, in your car. And also,
And real quick, H, tell him you had some situations you encountered, but thankfully, since you had your license, you was able to get your gun back.
yeah,
That's what they
I've
don't know, realize.
right, I've been through a couple situations, and you know, by me having that license, you know, thank God, you know, I didn't get shot and killed, you know, like, you know, some of the brothers that we've lost over the past years, you know, that have that gun license and still get shot. But it did save me in a lot of situations, and also just being pulled over by cops by me telling them beforehand up front before even giving them my regular license, letting them know, yo, here's my gun license. I do have a gun in the car. Letting them know up front before they even start to, can we search your car? Or do you have anything in here? When they're walking up to the car, I'm letting them know up top, yo, here's my gun license. And like my partner said, we got to start thinking, you know, and that's why I'm glad that I had to talk with him earlier, because just seeing this story really just made me, you know, I work in an office building around a lot of white folks, and just reading that story just made me want to just get out of my chair and do some things that could have ended me up dead today, not in jail, dead. And we really have to, as black people, endure a lot of things. Just being black, you know, just being who we are, that situation that happened with that young brother at that Dunkin' Donuts, it didn't even have to go that way. And that dude, no matter how quote unquote angry he was about some fucking coffee or some fucking pissy ass donuts, He didn't have to come inside and continue to doing that. But that's that hate. That's how much those crackers hate us and they despise us. That it couldn't have been, you know what? I'm gonna just drive off because how many fucking Dunkin' Donuts are there in each town? He could have just drove 5, 6 minutes and got to another one. But no, he had to come inside to confront this young man to try to continue to just demean this young man to bring him down because that's all that word is built for. That word nigga is just built to tear us down, to break us down, to make us feel like we're nothing, like we're beneath them, like we're not even on the level of animals. They look at their pet dogs and cats as above us as human beings. So that's all that was he wanted to come inside and continue to just degrade this young man. And unfortunately, this young man is going to be, you know, put on trial over something that he shouldn't even have to be put on trial over. And then more than likely, 9 times out of 10, he's going to be facing a white cracker judge that's not going to understand what it's like to be a black man in the United States. He's not going to know what it feels like to just walk into a regular department store like Walgreens, like I do all the time, and get stared at and get followed around when you're just going in there just to buy, a pack of toilet paper or to get some juice and some chips. Yet you're getting followed around and profiled, and they're gonna be calling the security to walk around and follow you and watch you. That judge that he's going to face doesn't know what it feels like to be a black man or a black woman here in this cracker ass country. So his thought process is not going to be, oh, let me sit here and think about what this young man goes through on a daily basis. Why did he snap like that based upon these words that were spewed at him? They're just going to look at him as an animal that attacked the old man. That's all. And that's unfair and it's unjust. And that's how it is in all of these courtrooms. It's unfair and it's unjust if you're a black man or you're a black woman. When you walk in there, the deck is already stacked up against you before your lawyer or your attorney even begins talking. You already at a negative point. So I just really feel bad for this young man. And the thing about it is that there's thousands of stories like this that happen all the time. This one is just one that got documented. There are a lot of men and women around this country that go through things like that and they react because they're tired. They're tired of being picked on all the time. They're tired of being slighted. They're tired of being looked down upon. They're tired of being spit on and talked to like that because we don't deserve that, and we know that on the inside that we don't deserve this treatment. Yet we get it all the time, and I just feel just so sorry for that young brother and his whole family that he has to go through this. That he's facing the possibility of going away for years upon years upon years before he even hits the age of 30. He's still a young man. He still has a lot more life to live and a lot more things to see and things to do. Yet he's going to be, God, God willing, I hope it doesn't turn out extra bad for him, but he's going to be going to be sitting down, and it's just unfair and it's not right. So, as my partner was saying, we got to try to think a little bit better and try to use our heads a little bit more, even though it's unfair that we have to do this extra thinking and this extra planning and this extra thought process just because the color of our skin. We got to do all this extra thinking and planning out just to live our normal, regular lives. But we got to be smarter and we got to be able to hopefully react a little bit better. I'm not saying that the way this young man reacted is wrong. However, in this situation, it wasn't smart because of now the situation that he finds himself in.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel the same way. It's sad, you got to take it as a learning lesson that we need to try to do better and do something else because they're not gonna look at it like, oh, well, it's self defense or whatever, whatever. You know what I'm saying? From a hate crime, they're not gonna look at it like that. So, like I
And that's
said,
the
for all
angle
you,
that they should. That's the angle they should. It is a hate crime. Him using those words against that young man. That's the definition of hate. That's
All
the
right.
definition of hate. And him, they can also look at it as he pumped it up. He could have, as I said, drove off in his car and went to the Dunkin' Donuts that's 5 minutes away. Or he could have went to whatever, a 7-Eleven, whatever. No, he had to leave the drive-through and come inside. He provoked that. He was the provoker. He was the agitator. So that's something that they should keep in mind in this trial, that young man wasn't pumping this up. This dude wanted to get out of his car. He wanted to go inside and do more. So that should be viewed as a hate crime. And it also should be viewed upon, as one of my colleagues earlier said, the stand your ground. Who knows? Okay, we can say all day that this dude is 77 and he's old. There are a lot of old crackers out there who carry knives and blades in their pocket, or a gun. We know that crackers love guns. So that old man could have came inside of that place with some type of knife or machete or even a handgun. That brother didn't know what was going on. All he knows is that this hateful old man came in there to call him nigger. That's all he knows. So yes, it
Yeah, he
should be
couldn't
viewed
end
as a
the end
hate
with that
crime.
bullshit. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Most likely they not. So that's why it's best to fight smart. You know, all our ancestors and what they went through was not for us to keep still making the same, bad decisions when we have more resources than they had back then. So now the best thing to do is to use them. Anything else you want to say on this topic, G, before we end the show out?
No, I just hope that our people look at this story and really think about the moves that you're gonna make, the plans that you're gonna make, and also just opening your eyes even more to the country that we live in. That's all I gotta say.
All right, y'all. It's a learning lesson. This opposite from the norm. Make sure y'all subscribe and like, hit that notification bell. We'll be back.